Good evening. I'm Randy Rosenblum, and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. I'm hosting tonight, but I'll be assisted as well by Tarek Fatal of the LA Daily News. He's been with us before. Tarek has got great insight to prep sports, and we'll channel in on that when we have Tarek aboard. But first, I want to say what a great weekend we had last week with the semifinals. Now, this week, we're going to get into final action in basketball for the boys and the girls and soccer for the boys and the girls. Stan Delus, he's the coach of Etiwanda HS Girls team. They're in the championship game this weekend in the open division of the Southern section. He'll join us in a little bit. They'll play Sierra Canyon, another terrific team. And we have Lloyd Webster from King Drew, who's still alive in the LA City section. They've had a couple upsets already on the road. So King Drew into the finals of the boys championship in city section action, and they'll play at Fairfax for the championship. That game actually now has been moved to Roybal, so it's great that they got Roybal as a location. But let's bring in Tarek Fatal. We have some things to talk about, Tarek. First and foremost, how are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. Kind of a rare night off, if I might say. I've been at a basketball game every night for weeks through the playoffs, and then if I'm not at a basketball game, I'm at a baseball game in the afternoon. So in the prep sports, we call this the crossover. It's with the winter to spring crossover, championships for the winter, and baseball and softball and track and field starting up in the spring. So it's a busy time, but always a pleasure to be on with you.
I appreciate it. It's a busy time for us because we've got to cover a lot of events. Let's start with the open division in the Southern section in boys basketball. I know the game Harvard-Westlake upsetting Sierra Canyon at Sierra Canyon, you believe was one of the great games, certainly in the history of the San Fernando Valley and the section. The Wolverines won it 63-60. Sierra Canyon had Dylan Matoyer with an opportunity to tie it with a three that fell off the iron. Well, what a game this was.
Oh, it was a great game. Brady Dunlap was really the star of the show, and he came alive in the fourth quarter. 10 of his 17 points coming in the fourth quarter. And this is pretty much what's unheard of. And Sierra Canyon only had 8 points in the final quarter. So Brady Dunlap alone outscored Sierra Canyon, and they were dancing out of those doors in Chatsworth. Harvard Westlake has never beaten Sierra Canyon in their program, and what better and bigger way to do it than pretty much that semifinal game, which earned them a berth to their first ever open division final. And obviously that we know that's going to happen on Friday night at Corona Centennial.
Yeah, again, the composure of Harvard Westlake, they were just tremendous from start to finish. They hung in there, they fell behind, they battled back and went back and forth. And they just played winning basketball. They played smart basketball. Their big men, Huggins and Lewis, were terrific. They hit shots from the perimeter. Cameron Thrower, number 24, was terrific all night long. They just had a great game plan for Sierra Canyon. Dave Rabibo does a great job. Now let's check out the last few seconds of the game.
Bailey and James on offense, and it is a three-point game. They need the three for the tie. Here comes James. Will they foul him? Nope, they're going to get the shot away. Matoyer for the tie. It won't get there. It's over. The Wolverines are going to the finals.
And then the mad celebration from the Fanatics who were on hand. This is really a great moment, wasn't it, Tarek?
Oh, it was fantastic. Again, it's one thing. I've been covering the Sierra Canyon I've been at the Daily News for almost 8 years. And one thing I'll always kind of knock for Sierra Canyon for is, I'll be honest with you, you go to those games and, okay, there's a little bit of an energy there because you never know who's going to show up. But the home crowd really doesn't get into it. The Harvard Westlake traveling fans, there was a sea of red in that gym that night. And it felt like a Sierra Canyon road game because there were so many Wolverine fans there. And Robert Ory was there, like getting the crowd pumped in. So it was a great opportunity for Harvard Westlake, and they took advantage of it. And what a great moment for David Rabibo and his program.
Centennial is just playing lights out. They hammered Crean Lutheran 91-46. They won their pool. They're 3-0. They've won 26 straight games. They are a juggernaut. Their backcourt is brilliant. This is a tremendous team that Josh Giles has in Corona.
Preview today was talking about how David Rabibo, after the game, you saw the chaos there that ensued and, storming of the court. And David Rabibo was really calm. He went across, shook Andre Chevalier's hand, said good game to the coaching staff at Sierra Canyon, and then kind of was just calmly walking back to the bench as the chaos was ensuing. And I had a chance to talk with him, and he kind of just, he was, they won, and it was obviously a big hill that they had been able to get over. However, he knew the job wasn't done. And so the job done is getting a win over Corona Centennial, and that is going to be a tall, tall task. So Jared McCain, Donovan Dent, the list goes on. Devin Williams, Aaron McBride. I mean, just really, really good team, really well-coached team. And it's going to be, I would say they definitely have the edge Friday night.
Playing at home. And that backcourt I was talking about, and you mentioned the names, are Donovan Dent, he's going to New Mexico, and Jared McCain, a tremendous shooter who's being recruited by Duke and UCLA. Let's turn our attention to the girls now in the open division in the southern section. Sierra Canyon 26-1, running past Corona Centennial. So it's Sierra Canyon against Etiwanda, who's 27-0. Tarek, I'll get a quick comment from you. Then we're going to bring in the head coach of the fine team from Etiwanda.
Yes, Coach Stan Delus is going to be able to maybe correct me on this, but if I'm not mistaken, they've got one big common opponent, and that's La Jolla Country Day. Sierra Canyon's lost to La Jolla Country Day, and I think Etiwanda beat La Jolla Country Day. So if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of the only big common opponent there, and now they're finally going to face off Sierra Canyon and Etiwanda, and that's going to be a great game, and I'm really curious to know what Coach Delus is going to do in containing Juju Watkins.
All right, let's bring in the coach, Stan Delus. 6 years as the head coach, 1 year prior to that as the assistant. Coach, welcome to the program, SoCal Prep Report. And first and foremost, congratulations. 27-0 is perfection. You've had a tremendous year. Yeah, looks like he's frozen up. We had great connection with him when we were testing it out. But the coach is frozen up. His team hasn't frozen up at all, has it, Tark? They're 27-0, and they're really good.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking about a Etiwanda team that's pretty much been the team to beat all year long. So Sierra Canyon, believe it or not, you watch Sierra Canyon. I haven't seen Etiwanda play in person, but Sierra Canyon's a team I've seen play in person, and it's hard to believe that there's a team out there that's better than them. But I think Etiwanda is that team. So, again, Sierra Canyon will be on the road, and we'll see how Etiwanda can do with the traveling Trailblazers.
Yeah, Etiwanda's got a great player in Kennedy Smith. She's a post player, 6'1". She's a dynamic performer. I know we've talked about Juju Watkins at Sierra Canyon as the all-everything player. Is a great performer, going to lead the way. She's been to a championship game before when she played for Windward when they lost to a very good modern-day team a couple of years ago. We got Stan back. Stan, welcome to the show. Tark had a question for you. He wants to know how you're going to try to defend Juju Watkins.
Well, we don't really do it with one person, to be honest with you. We've been playing team defense all year. So it's one of those things where we're going to do our best to contain as a team. And that's really much the only way, she's such a really good individual isolated player that you have to do your best to try to box her in and make her take tough shots. But she's so talented that you're just going to have to just pray that you can do a good job of slowing her down.
7-0. I know you had a good team last year. You went deep into the playoffs in D1. Now you're in the open division. But did you ever anticipate perfection to this point of the year, winning 27 straight? Did you see it coming?
No, not at all. When you have a core of your players that's freshmen and sophomores, you expect them to grow with each game, each tournament, each non-league game into league, headed into playoffs. I think for us, we just wanted to get better game by game. We knew we were talented. We didn't know that it was going to turn into possibly an undefeated season. We just wanted to compete at the highest level and putting ourselves in the Redondo tournament, then the Nike TOC, and then, putting ourselves in great non-league competition. We wanted to put ourselves in a position just to really get better, and it ended up where we are now.
Coach, in your 6 years as the head coach, Would you say this is your best team? You mentioned kind of off the air that, yes, you're known for defense, but you guys score really well too.
Yeah.
So, off the top of your head, is this maybe the best team that has the combination of both?
In my 6 years, combination of both, yes. We've been very talented these last 6 years where we've been in the open division every single year. So it wasn't a surprise to us that we were in the open, but a combination of being able to score at multiple levels, at multiple positions, with having four 6-footers on the floor at certain times, and even can be all 5 times. It puts us at a very good advantage where we have some mismatches where we can exploit the inside as well as shoot from the perimeter and still keep our defensive intensity.
Coach, the school, Etiwanda, in girls basketball, the boys team has had great success under Dave Kleckner, but the girls team's had success too, but it's come up empty, come up just a hair short in championship games. You've never won it. What would it mean to the Etiwanda girls program to finally get the title?
I can't even tell you. For the community, it would mean everything. For 22 years, our program has produced over 100 Division I players out of the program. Currently, 30 since my tenure at Etiwanda to play at the next level. And we've been close so many times. Just to put ourselves in a position to win it is a blessing. But to actually win it for our community, our area, for the whole Inland Empire public school system, to win an open division at that level it'll be amazing.
Well, Coach, good luck. We appreciate you chiming in here on SoCal Prep Report. We don't hear a lot about Etiwanda girls basketball here. We hear a lot about Kleckner's Etiwanda team on the boys' side. But congratulations on ramping it up and having a tremendous season at Etiwanda.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, that's head coach Stan Delus from Etiwanda. The Eagles, again, 27-0, playing Sierra Canyon for the championship. Now let's turn our attention to the city section, and then we'll bring in Lloyd Webster, the head coach of King Drew. I know, Tark, you've seen the open division games in the city section. There's been some great games. Birmingham, the defending champion, got knocked off at Fairfax in overtime. Controversial charge, no charge call. The call went for the team that won the game, Fairfax. Birmingham, a little upset by the call, went into overtime, and Birmingham fell to Fairfax. And then King Drew has been just a great road warriors. They've won 2 games on the road, and they knocked off the number 1 team, Taft. And that's just a great victory for them in the semifinals.
Yeah, if next time I see Lloyd Webster, I gotta shake his hand because that's
you're going to see him right now.
I know, but it's digital. It's one less it's one less final I gotta cover. There's so many teams in the finals here for the Daily News. So now King Drew is in the final, and they're gonna play Fairfax. And when I was there watching King Drew play Taft, Daily News, I'm covering Taft, I'm covering Birmingham. They're out. So it was a great game, and it was so fun watching Caleb LeCount, and he deserved all the coverage I gave him that night, and I wish him the best of luck in the final.
Yeah, Caleb LeCount is an unbelievable guard, 5'9", cat quick. So let's bring the coach in, who is the man that orchestrates Caleb LeCount. That's there he is, Lloyd Webster, the coach. We just call him the coach. Congratulations on getting to the championship. I'm sure you're happy to be on a neutral court. You won't have to play a road game. I know you won at Venice, and then you won the game at Taft. You're happy to at least have some fans in the stands that'll be on your side, right, Coach?
Big fan of both of you guys. Man, you guys do an incredible job.
Well, I appreciate that, but you've done an incredible job with your basketball team. With a guy like Caleb LeCount, I got to believe you thought going into the tournament in the open division, the 8 teams, everyone thought it was kind of literally open. Any one of the 8 could win it. With a player like that, you must have felt going in, you had a real chance to win this tournament.
Yeah, the hardest part is the teammates buying in, having an incredible player like Caleb on the team. Most kids these days, with all the travel ball and AAU ball, they're kind of, what can I say? They're a little bit head cases at times. They've been kind of, fed some bad information from club coaches and things like that. So it makes it challenging when you kind of to convince them that, hey, you're going to be taking limited shots because this guy from the field is a lot better than you, you know. So it's been a buy-in process overall.
Coach, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to Caleb LeCount, I mean, you'd have to imagine opposing teams have to key in on him. You know, I'm a little curious on what kind of defensive you've seen throughout the season, and then it kind of just doesn't seem to matter. I mean, he's able to make plays for himself, make plays for teammates, and you know, he's just such a gamer. So I'm just wondering, what is it you do when you're looking at oppositions and how you think they defend you and Caleb, and you're still able to win games?
You know what we try to do is we tell our other guys, like, don't stand around, because if you do, then defenses we're gonna play right into the game plan. I think, like, you know, St. Francis probably had the best game plan for us. You know, they were able to kind of pick us up high. You know, they were just very, very sound, very well coached. You know, shout out to Coach Dub. I call him Coach Dub because I pronounce his last name wrong all the time. So he understands I just call him Coach Dub, right? You know. So, but anyway, I mean, you know, they just had a really great game plan. But you know what? Their game plan helped us our coaching staff be able to coach better, because when you play great teams with great defensive schemes, it makes you a better team to where you see things that maybe other teams are not as sound at doing. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
It does make sense, but I want to get back into Caleb LeCount. You know, he's a short guy. I haven't seen him play in person. I've seen clips of him. You know, you think a guy 5'9" wouldn't have a future at the highest level in basketball, but there have been exceptions to that rule. So, Coach, tell us, what is the upside and what will be the future for this young guard who's so good for you?
You know how, you know, growing up, man, you play basketball. Of course, I mean, I don't know if you guys grew up, but I grew up in this, you know, LA City, played basketball, and I can just remember, like, coming up, you have to accept, like, guys just have it, you know, and this young man, he just has it. He has the energy, he has the charisma, the drive. You know, he's a high character kid on and off the floor. You know, he walks into the room, you know, you know, he lights everybody up. And he just has this mentality that, you know, he can't be stopped. And everything starts in the mind, you know, even though you're 5'9", it's kind of like what you're made of. And this kid is like, he's made of everything that you want, not only as a, you know, as a coach, but as a father, as a brother, as a, he's a big brother. You know, his little brother plays on the team, so he's just a born leader. You know, that's the way I say it. Kind of like a, you know, like a David and Goliath. He's David. You know, he's killed a lion and a bear. So I mean, who's to say he can't knock off Goliath? So that's kind of how he plays the game. You know, he plays the game with an edge, and because of that, he can play on any level, including D1, because he's just that special.
We have Fairfax coming up. Obviously, it's for the championship. What problems do the Lions present your basketball team?
I mean, most importantly, man, you know, one of the top coaches in the state. I mean, let's give Reggie Morris his flowers. He's a great coach. You know, he's a great AAU coach. The guys has a lot of merit, and guys want to play for him. They want to go to war for him. They want to leave it in between those lines. And we have to take this game as serious as we taking these other two. You know, we can't lack. You know, there's no, you know, relaxing. You know, this game is for everything. You know, I know we've been getting a lot of praise because we knocked off number one, but the job is not done. You know, and that's what I've been telling our guys. Like, yeah, that was a great win, and it had a championship atmosphere because they were the number one seed, but we have to finish the job. You know what I mean? And that's the most important thing on our minds and on Kayla's minds, is just to keep the rest of those guys focused on, you know, the prize, which is the championship.
Coach, you know, we know about the Fairfax program and the history, you know, with Harvey Katani, all the great talent that's gone through their building. We know all about Westchester, who's still doing great things in Division One and will be playing Grant for the D1 title. What do you want the general public to know about the King Drew program?
You know, just to get that statement off that it's a medical magnet high school in the middle of an inner city community, that that only has academic success. Now they have to respect us for our athletic success. We've had success in track and field, and we won a Division II title in 2018 at the buzzer when we beat Van Nuys, and we've been in the Open now for the past 3 years. So I think, maybe, just a little bit of recognition would be great athletically, because every time you speak of King Drew, it's just academic, and I think with us having Fidelis Okirike, who's now at Northridge, as Player of the Year 2020, we had a really good kid miss Player of the Year because he was kind of under the radar and didn't get the recognition that he shouldn't have got. Kosi Akamatsu, and now Caleb LeCount this year. I think we're kind of making the noise that we need to make to just get a little bit of athletic recognition, which is I think is very rewarding for the school.
Tark, do you have a final question for the coach?
My last one is just, how are you getting these guys prepared? I know you talked about how the job wasn't done, but you've mentioned it. You've been in the Open Division now. It's not necessarily new air, but the final is a big moment. And so I'm just curious to know what you've been telling the guys all week.
The main thing is just, it's that old cliche saying, this is the last game. I mean, this is the last game in the city section. We're here, and, let's go out there and, I know this sounds redundant, but leave it in between those lines. Let's not leave this game with regret saying, I wish I would have guarded harder or blocked off or, or called a switch or talked more on D or, or maybe fouled a guy we needed to be fouled or, locked in on a free throw, let's make sure we, cross all our T's and dot all our I's. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. We don't want to leave, we don't want to take plays off. We want to stay locked in. That's the ultimate goal, is the title.
Well, you have a great chance. And Coach Lloyd, Webster, King Drew, congratulations getting your team to the finals against Fairfax. Best of luck against the Lions.
Hey, man, much love, Tarek. Much love, Randy, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, man. Much love to you guys, man.
Well,
good luck.
Right back at you, and congratulations.
Thanks again, fellas.
You got it. Tark, I want to circle back a little bit to girls basketball, because I know that you were at the Chaminade Camarillo game. This is D1. It was a semifinal. Camarillo, the Scorpions, are the number 1 seed in girls basketball, and they have a young lady who has a brother playing for UCLA, and Gabriella is just unbelievable, Hawkheads, and you were there to see her performance.
It was a great atmosphere. Chaminade, the Mission League champion, and of course Camarillo, Coastal Canyon League champion, and that was kind of the attraction for me. I hadn't seen Gabriella play. I've seen Jaime Jaquez play all through high school. I've seen him play a ton in college, and I show up and Gabriella pretty much plays like her brother. I mean, she's tough, does everything. She can go to the basket, she can shoot, she gets to the free throw line, she can pass, she can defend, she blocks shots. I mean, she's really doing everything for that team. And it's a lot of, Jaime did that for his team when he was at Camarillo. So I was a little bit surprised that Chaminade wasn't able, which is a more well-rounded team. I thought maybe they'd be able to control her, and they did for the first 3 quarters, and then she exploded. She had 18 points in the 4th quarter. She was 19 of 21 from the free throw line for the game and finished with 43 points. And so Camarillo advances to the final. They're going to play Viewpoint in Calabasas on Saturday night, another local team. And they got a couple players of their own. Kayla Kishmeshian's good, and Carly White. Those are the 2 best players for Viewpoint.
Do you think Viewpoint's got a shot at them? I know Camarillo's number 1. They're very good.
I'll be honest. I think Camarillo, again, the number 1 seed, I think they're going to have the edge. Viewpoint being at home, that'll certainly help. But I would give the nod to Camarillo, and I think that's just because I don't know if they're going to have an answer for Gabriella. If there's one thing I saw Chaminade do that helped, they were pressing Camarillo the first 3 quarters, and it forced Gabriella to get the ball and look ahead and get the ball out of her hands. And then she would have to really work hard to get it back. And that just creates a lot of havoc, and it makes Gabriella work and maybe tires her out. In the 4th quarter, Chaminade kind of stopped with that press. So Gabriella was able to get the ball and just kind of mosey on up the court and make a play. So the reason I bring that up is Viewpoint does not have a big team. I think they only have 7 or 8 girls on the whole roster. So I just don't see them pressing the whole game. I don't think they have the bodies to do it. And I think Gabriela Jaquez is going to win the D1 championship.
And before we leave, we got to talk a little bit about soccer. It's their championship weekend as well. We'll start here with city section games. The boys Division I game has Southeast, the number 5 seed, against number 2 Birmingham. A lot of people thought El Camino Real was going to win that championship. Birmingham, out of that same West Valley, is a very strong team. I know they have David Diaz, who's a terrific striker.
Anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge soccer fan. I wish I could cover more prep soccer. It's a sport that I love, and soccer is one of those sports. You show up, you don't have a good day. It just takes one moment.
Right.
You could lose the match. I mean, that's soccer for you. You could be shooting at that goal all day long, and none of them go in, and the other team gets a counter and has one chance and puts it in the net, and you lose. So El Camino Real might have come in complacent. They lost. So now they're no longer in the final, and Birmingham's going to have a chance to defend their their Division I city championship. Of course, David Diaz, the go-to player for the Patriots.
And on the girls' side, El Camino Real seems to be there all the time. They've won 14 titles since 2000, and they're going to be, I guess you would perceive them as the underdog to number 1 Cleveland out of the same West Valley. How do you size that one up?
I just think I get the seedings. I get Cleveland being number 1, but Eric Choi at El Camino Real, like you mentioned, they've won so many city titles. They've been there before, and you're giving a team that's already been there plenty of times like this underdog motivation. To me, that just seems like a recipe for victory. So I see the Royals winning that on, I believe that game is on Saturday night. That's right. So I think Eric Choi is going to get another one.
All right, what are you covering this weekend? Where are you going?
Okay, so tomorrow night I will make the road trip to Corona, and I will be at Harvard Westlake Corona Centennial Boys Open.
I can give
final.
you some insight on how to get there. From my house, it's 7 freeways.
7 exactly,
freeways
right?
To get to Centennial.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm actually, it'll be a Friday. I plan on getting out there probably around 2:00, get a lunch, hang around, get to the gym early, make sure I got a seat because I'm sure it'll be a packed house, and then. Saturday is going to be quite the day. I'm going to go to Roybal High School and cover 3 games, 11, 1, and 3:30. And then I'm going to drive to Calabasas and cover that Viewpoint Camarillo Girls Division I final. For those that are in the San Fernando Valley area, Village Christian's also playing in the Boys 2AA final. That's on Friday night. And that's our other local kind of big game happening in the area. And then Oaks Christian Girls are in the 3A final against Shadow Hills. That's all. So that's on Saturday night.
You're running around for the LA Daily News. Tarek Fatal, we thank you. You're going to be back with us next week, right?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
All right. We're rotating some, other people in the media in the second chair, but Tarek is anything but a second banana here. Does a phenomenal job. He's great on television. He's great in print, and we're thrilled that he's joined us on the last couple shows. So, Tarek, thanks again. We thank you at home. We're going to be back again live next Thursday night for more coverage. We'll go through all the championship games. We'll see who wins the title. I personally think Corona Centennial will get it over Harvard Westlake and the boys. King Drew's got a shot at Fairfax. That's going to be a great game at Roybal. I don't have a thought there. I think that one could go either way. Maybe Lloyd Webster and King Drew can get it done. And on the girls' side, I think Etiwanda is the favorite over Sierra Canyon, but you can never discount Juju Watkins, one of the great girls basketball players in the country. For our LA 36 staff, Larry Zavala, the producer, I'm Randy Rosenblum. We'll see you next Thursday night at 9 p.m. right here on LA 36. Good night, everybody.